Time to start packing. Perhaps not the line you would expect to end the occupation of one Terok Nor, but one that helps sum up the personality of the Vorta Weyoun. An overseer in the oppressive Dominion, Jeffrey Colmes' character just kept coming back for more thanks to the wonders of cloning technology and a good script. Appearing across the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th seasons of DS9, he acted as an intermediary for the Founders, particularly during the occupation of Cardassia. Also a key figure in attempting to keep Dukat and Damar on a tight leash, Weyoun would be at the heart of many of the major decisions of the Dominion War. But there's much more to the character, the actor and the clones than just the Dominion War. Colmes, as fans will know, has a rich history with the franchise, and likewise, Weyoun became one of DS9's most significant recurring characters during its final seasons. Perhaps best described as everyone's friend and everyone's enemy, Weyoun provided the insight into the workings of the Anti-Federation. While he almost always held an air of positivity, he was the king of spin, ever prepared to step to a bleak outcome. Of course, this would all be delivered with hesitation and regret, and the Oscar goes to... I'm Sean Ferrick for TrekCulture, and here are 10 things you didn't know about Weyoun. Number 10. Seeing Double. Colmes' appearance in Dogs of War as both Weyoun and Brunt is not as unique as fans may appreciate. In fact, it wasn't the first or second time that an actor would appear in two different roles in the same episode. Track back to Season 3 of The Next Generation and The Defector. Patrick Stewart would act as both Captain Picard and also as, uncredited, Michael Williams in the holodeck recreation of Shakespeare's Henry V. The other would be Brian Markinson. Markinson would appear alongside Jeffrey Colmes in Season 5's In the Card as Dr. Geiger, but over on Voyager he would take on the role of Lieutenant Pete Durst in Cathexis and Faces. In the second of those episodes, he would also play the part of the Vidian Sulan, who grafts Durst's face onto his own. Naturally, it would make sense to have Markinson play both parts. Of course, let us not forget the episode Brothers, in which Brent Spiner played Data, and Lore, and Noonien Sung. What does make Colm unique in this realm is that, thanks to his appearance as a patron of Vic Fontaine's club in What You Leave Behind, he's the only actor to have appeared in two different roles, credited or uncredited, in two successive episodes. Colmes is also the only actor to have his name with both characters listed in the show's opening credits. Number 9. Most roles ever? The legend is that Jeffrey Colmes is one of only 6 actors to have played 7 or more characters across the breadth of the franchise. If we go by each Weyoun, technically being a different character in its own right, Colmes is the record holder with 12, not including holograms or dream visions, which brings it up to 20 going by Memory Alpha. Weyoun was never originally intended to be a clone. 5 of these appearances are Weyouns, 4 to 8, and then there's Tyron from Meridian, Liquidator Brunt, Penk from Voyager's Sunkatsi, Shran in Enterprise, and most recently the voice of Agamus, the recurring computer villain in Lower Decks. If we count Weyoun as a single character, then it's a slightly reduced 7, meaning he's well behind the top spot and therefore not necessarily the one who should be in all the memes. The actor who officially holds the record over Colmes when it comes to the number of Star Trek roles is Vaughn Armstrong, with an impressive 11. What makes that equally impressive is that all of those are unique characters, spanning the 80s and 90s Treks from TNG right up to the 2000s in Enterprise. Number 8. Casting Call. According to the Deep Space Nine companion by Terry J. Erdman with Paula M. Block, the casting of Weyoun was a difficult mission during the making of To the Death. Director LeVar Burton had called in the Mods God's Clarence Williams III for the role of the Jem'Hadar Ometiclan, but none of the actors chosen to test for Weyoun were quite right. The Next Generation actor-director had a moment of realization that there was someone who could pull it off, and he had actually used that person already. Jeffrey Colmes had worked on the Burton-directed Bar Association in Season 4. While the part was not specifically written for him, Colmes would make the part very much his own. As Weyoun, he had more freedom to develop the character, since his Ferengi persona was inspired by Armin Zimmerman's performance as Quark. According to an interview with StarTrek.com, Colmes had been cast in the earlier episode Family Business, thanks to his previous theatre experience with René Auberjonois, who directed that episode. Colmes noted that there was resistance, as he had already played Tyron in the same season. Number 7. Beta Resurrection. On-screen Weyoun's 8th clone was killed in the series finale. However, in the expanded universe, and science fiction in general, death is just one of those ever-present hurdles that can be jumped. While the cloning facility in the Alpha Quadrant was destroyed during the Dominion War, others still exist on the other side of the Bajoran wormhole. The 9th Weyoun would go on to assist Odo in rebuilding the Dominion as a more peaceful society, even seeking out Jem'Hadar who were not addicted to Ketracel White. In Star Trek Online, That universe would see Weyoun 10 negotiate with the Federation to release the female changeling from her incarceration. Star Trek Online skips over the existence of Weyoun 9. 10's appearance in the game was voiced by Colmes and sees the Vorta arrested for attempting to kill Odo. He is then killed by a Jem'Hadar soldier during a storyline that revolves around a group of Ketracel white-addicted Hurk. In the Millennium novel War of the Prophets, this would include a variant of Weyoun who had become the Kai of Bajor? Number 6. Colmes beyond the screen of Trek. Outside of Star Trek, Jeffrey Colmes is probably best known for his role as Dr. Herbert West in the Reanimator series. Based on a story from H.P. Lovecraft that was written in the early 1920s, the property was one of the first to include zombies as the living dead. Colmes took on the lead role in 3 films to date. These movies, termed as comedy horror, would be Reanimator from 1985, Bride of Reanimator from 1990, and Beyond Reanimator from 2003. He has also appeared in The Frighteners, on Babylon 5 alongside Trek alumni including Andreas Katsulas, and a recurring role on the 4400. Fans can hear him as Ratchet on the 2010 series of Transformers Prime, Robots in Disguise, and Beast Hunters, as well as in the SpongeBob SquarePants cartoon, Batman: The New Animated Adventures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Thundercats, among many others. Outside of the more mainstream Star Trek realms, Colmes has also voiced Romulan Commander Soldock as part of Star Trek Voyager's Elite Force 2 game from 2003. 2 years before that, he would also reprise the role of Weyoun in the Simon & Schuster-produced Star Trek DS9 Dominion Wars for PC. To date, his last appearance in any form as Weyoun remains 2018's online Victoria's Life expansion. Number 5. The Frakes Connection. Back in 1986, a young actor by the name of Jonathan Frakes was cast to play Commander William T. Riker in some new Star Trek show that was likely only going to last a season or 2 at most. But there was another. Also running for the role was one Jeffrey Colmes. While he would ultimately lose out on the starring role in TNG, Jonathan Frakes would remember him when directing the DS9 episode Meridian and cast him in the slimy role of Tyrion. Colmes then went on to star in 2 series finales, DS9's and Enterprise's These Are the Voyages. However, Marina Sirtis and his former competition for the role of Riker, Jonathan Frakes, have appeared in 3 if we include Picard's 3rd season, leaving them as the record holders. Number 4. Barry Lyndon has the style. When explaining how he created the role of Weyoun, Jeffrey Colmes has referred to the Stanley Kubrick film Barry Lyndon as his inspiration. Colmes noted that during that movie there is a sequence where 2 characters are being exceptionally nice to each other and adhering to formal etiquette of the period but absolutely despise each other. Call to Arms sees Sisko and Weyoun discuss the minefield that is about to block access to the Gamma Quadrant. As the script notes, his aggressiveness once again covered by a mask of reasonableness and sincerity, as he explains that the Dominion wants peaceful coexistence and that they are encountering issues with the Cardassians, such as the starving population. Weyoun suggests limiting convoys to medical and economic help if Sisko agrees not to deploy the mines. However, the real overtone here for both parties, just as with the scene in Barry Lyndon, is that war is inevitable and the Dominion will be launching an attack on DS9. Colmes' ultimate vision of Weyoun was that he was everyone's friend, that there are serious ulterior motives behind everything that he does. Number 3. Who caused Odo's illness? The origin of Odo's mysterious illness in Broken Link is not one of DS9's most clearly explained plotlines. Some believed he was infected as far back as The Search Part 2, but that wouldn't make sense. At that point, he had yet to harm another changeling. Could it have been transmitted when Odo encountered the female changeling disguised as Kira in Heart of Stone? It's possible that the Krasinski founder in The Adversary passed it on as he fought Odo. But it turns out there's a much more straightforward explanation. During To the Death, Weyoun 4 slaps Odo on the back when he requests a moment of his time. The conversation ultimately ends with Odo declining to return home, and it is at this point that Weyoun takes the opportunity to give the changeling a good-natured slap, concluding the conversation rather ominously. Then it's over. After all, you're a founder. I live to serve you. The script confirms that this was the moment that DS9's security chief was infected, leading to his forced return to the link at the end of the season. Ironically, it means that at this stage of the season, Odo is both infected by Section 31 and the Dominion. Tough luck, eh? Number 2. Count them up. Across the course of DS9, there are 5 Weyouns to appear on screen, leaving Jeffrey Colmes with the dubious honour of being the person killed the most times in Star Trek history. 4 is eliminated in To the Death, 5 dies off-screen in a mysterious transporter accident that Damar has nothing whatsoever to do with. 6 takes his own life aboard a runabout with Odo in Treachery, Faith and the Great River. the 7th clone has his neck snapped by Worf rather unceremoniously when he and Dax are captured during the 10-part finale. 8 would be terminated in What You Leave Behind by Garak, marking the end of the clone line since their production facility had been destroyed. The first 3 Weyouns are never mentioned in the series, with both theirs and Weyoun 5's death occurring off-screen. Number 1. Just the one. The original concept for Weyoun was that he would be a single-episode character designed specifically for the actor Jeffrey Colmes. In his previous 2 appearances in DS9, Colmes had been heavily concealed under layers of makeup. The role of Weyoun meant that the actor would have more of his features visible. Weyoun would make what was his only intended appearance in Season 4's To the Death, an episode that received cuts for violence first in the US before broadcast and then again in the UK to receive a 15 certificate on the VHS release. At the episode's conclusion, Weyoun is vaporized by Ometiclan to display that the Jem'Hadar are loyal to the Founders, more even than the Vorta. Weyoun was only the 3rd Vorta to appear on screen, following Eris in the Season 2 finale, The Jem'Hadar, and Borath in The Search Part 2. Due to Colmes' performance in the episode, the character will be resurrected for Season 5's Ties of Blood and Water, and in doing so, lead the writers to introduce the factor of cloning. That is everything for our list today, folks. Thank you so much for watching along. We hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Clive Burrell, who wrote the article upon which this is based. You can check that out over on whatculture.com. I have been Sean. You can follow me on the various socials at Sean Ferrick, but make sure that you're following at TrekCulture on the various socials as well. Until I see you again, remember, you are a god. Or a security officer if you prefer. Either way, look after yourself. Thanks very much.